Well, welcome to the Enriching Gifts Education Call. This is Roderick in Wisconsin. I think we have Ron. We're going to get started here in a few seconds. I just wanted to quickly let you know that Dover is away celebrating his birthday. He's having dinner with his wife and family, I believe, and his spirit is always going to be with us. So that's where he is. And gosh, it's December 15th. Um, I don't know if some of you have anybody in Kentucky, but we definitely have our hearts with them. I don't know anybody, but my friends do know some people in Kentucky. So if you know of anyone, please, this is the time to reach out and offer some help. So again, this is the Enriching Gifts Education Call. This is December 15th, Wednesday. And gosh, it's like 10 days before Christmas, is it not?
It is.
Exciting time, exciting time. This is actually, I was just looking through the logs. This is actually our 67th Zoom call. And I know we've had many calls before because Ron and you're so dedicated and you've come. I think if we were to count them, we'd probably be saying this is our 1,664th call, something like that.
Seems like even more than that.
It probably is. It probably is. So I wouldn't be surprised, but we really appreciate you, Ron. I know that you've recently come off of a summer yourself, and you're dedicated. You still show up, and you care, and I hope you feel. I know you feel some love from our loyal fans here, and we look forward to
absolutely
hearing what you're going to learn from us. What you're going to teach us today. Calls all yours.
Yeah, well, thank you, Roderick. I appreciate you being here, and I'm glad Dover's taking time off for himself to enjoy his birthday. And also, I'm really happy that you mentioned Kentucky. It just broke my heart today watching President Biden walk through there and all party affiliations and all our differences set aside. I also want to encourage people, keep these people in your prayers, reach out to them, do whatever you can financially. I know my wife and I have donated. It's just beyond belief, the destruction that tornado had, over 200 miles on the ground. This crazy weather thing is just unbelievable, especially this time of year. That's never happened like this before. You don't have tornadoes in December. That's all over in September and October with the hurricane season and all that kind of stuff. So my prayers definitely go out to all the people affected by that, not just in Kentucky, but the relatives of all these people that are having to step up and change their lives to offer help and support. So our prayers go out to them. Getting to the call, I want to talk a little bit about this Omicron mutation of the COVID-19. And I don't know how many people on the call tonight are watching the news, but they keep popping up every single time you start to hear Fauci, you start to hear the latest updates about Pfizer and the vaccines and the boosters and all this kind of stuff. They're starting to talk about T-cell. Your T-cell, everything now is coming down to T-cell. Well, it seems to not compromise T-cell. It seems to strengthen T-cell. Well, I've been telling everybody for the last 3 decades, 30 years plus, T lymphocytes are the only cells of the immune system that have the capability of literally dissolving the human tissue cells where the virus is actually infecting and has entered into the cell membrane. And I just want to remind everybody, I don't worry about Omicron. I don't worry about the D variants. I had COVID, suffered really bad headaches for about 2.5 weeks and extreme fatigue and a little bit of achiness, but I'm fine. And the one thing that I always want to remind people about is we've already talked about this so many times, and I don't know who's new or who's not on the call tonight, so I want to talk about this one more time, because this whole news cycle this last week about T cells, it's really coming down to what I've been preaching and talking about for the last 3 decades. And, we did studies when we were over in South Africa with the AIDS epidemic in the early to mid 90s. And this was done at Natal Medical Center outside of Durban, South Africa, which is one of the largest, if not the largest, viral testing facility and laboratory in the world, along with King Edward's Hospital in Johannesburg. And our enzymes, just the digestive enzymes alone, I'm going to get into Steromax and the glucosides in a little bit, but just our GR8 CF77 plant enzymes under the Enriching Gifts label, we can increase T cell activity by 1,325% more active within 1 hour after ingesting just 3 of our plant enzyme capsules. 1,325% within 1 hour more active. And then you come to the Steromax. And why do I say this? Because now we have cold and influenza being reported for the first time since 2019. We didn't have anything in 2020. Everything was COVID. Everybody was wearing a mask. So all of a sudden, the influenza just disappeared. Well, if you believe that, I've got some beachfront property for you. I want to get rid of it over in the Sahara Desert. It's just the craziest thing I'd ever heard. Especially when on normal basis, 48,000 people die every year in America from the influenza. That's an annual statistic that'll go all the way back for the last 20, 30 years, and minimum was 25,000. So it varies. It's been on the increase, but population increases as well. So I want to get back to the Steromax because, we already know how we can stimulate and dramatically increase the activity. And all we did, by the way, when we gave these 3 enzymes to these different patients and AIDS victims over in Africa, all the enzymes did was break down and digest all the poorly and incompletely digested proteins that were circulating in your bloodstream from your daily diet. That's all we did, was clean out those receptors of all of those cells. And now they could actually come to functionality, start getting water, which again, all enzymes in the human body are hydrolytically activated, water activated. And part of the reason why that suppresses and diminishes that activity of not only T lymphocytes, but your basophils, neutrophils, eosinophils, lymphocytes, leukocytes, all immune system cells, all metabolic cells for that matter, the entire human body are affected by hydration. So when you clog up with those sticky proteins and they just literally create a mucus barrier from the cell getting in the hydration and the water that's circulating in the bloodstream, that's why a lot of that activity goes down. So when you clean those proteins away, then you're starting to get not only nutrients, but you also get the water back into the cell, and that just brings the whole cell functioning to life. So that's the first thing, 1,325% increased activity just with consuming 3 enzymes. So last week we talked about the benefits of taking enzymes in between meals. Should have taken on an empty stomach for inflammation. Well, this is one thing that you can do if you have a cold or flu, you feel like it's coming on. And I don't say take 2 or 3. I just say take 1 of our enzyme because they're so potent. You only need 1 in between meals. And that actually will not only clean up things, it oxygenates, but it's also going to maximize your nutrition and reduce inflammation. So it's a really good way to take care of a cold while actually treating the issue of the cold, not just symptoms, but the actual issues of a cold. Just take 1 capsule in between your meals. And most importantly, 2 to 3 at bedtime, just before you lay your head on the pillow. Then you have the Steromax. Steromax is a revolutionary product that has a very unique ingredient that is not found in foods. It only exists in sprouts, and different sprouts have very different ratios. So the 5 sprouts we use have the highest ratios ever been able to be identified by science of glucoside to sterol ratios. And there's the problem that we finally figured out a way how to overcome all of this and everything. And this was done in 1999 and actually put into our product in 2000 under the Enriching Gifts label. But the glucoside ratios in most foods, and when I say foods, I'm talking about sprouts, like a bean sprout, tomato sprout, um, an alfalfa sprout, any kind of blade of grass that will eventually yield a vegetable or a fruit. Those ratios, you're only going to find one glucoside for every 23 to 35 sterols. So it's extremely diluted in its ratio to where you got to consume 15, 18 pounds of sprouts every single day just to get adequate amounts to give your body that immune modulating and proliferating benefit from the glucoside. Nobody can do that. It's not feasible. You can't spend that much money. You can't consume that much food. And so we had to come up with some kind of an alternative, and working with University of Hawaii Pacific, the horticulture department, working with Professor Pagel, Professor Buck Rogers, some other people from South Africa, we were able to come up with this hybrid soybean called an oilseed plant. And it's our exclusive plant. This plant didn't exist on the planet before we created it. And it's an organic source. We created this through generational grafting processes. And so what we have now is a sterol source that has a 1 part glucoside to 1 part sterol ratio. And that's why you don't need but 3 to 6 capsules a day of the Steromax in order to get these huge, big, 5-6 times larger than normal white blood cells. And not only do we enlarge the cell, we increase the material that the cell functions with within the membrane by up to 400%. And overall efficiency of functioning of increase of all immune system cells, not just T lymphocytes, can be increased up to 759% overall increased efficiency of functioning. And that's just within the Steromax. And by the way, we do have that back in stock now. We were out of that most of the summer and most of the fall, and we just got it in about 3 weeks, maybe a month ago at the very most. In fact, we have all of our products back in stock now, except for the multivitamins. We ran out of those a couple weeks ago, and we won't have those in now until probably next April or May of next year. This COVID thing and the whole transportation, it just really backed everything up almost on a yearly basis. When I get an order in, it's almost a year before I can get it back in inventory. So check the websites, check your wholesale suppliers. If you've got a little bit of extra money laying around, you definitely want to stock up on this stuff while we have it in stock. And we just got it all in stock in the last 2 months. So it has very fresh code dates, very fresh inventory. But that's the one thing I want to talk about just tonight, and that's really all I have to talk about. Hopefully we'll have some questions and stuff. But I just wanted to talk to people about that T lymphocyte that everybody's seeing when they hear about this Omicron virus and stuff, and how these boosters are supposed to boost up the T lymphocyte functioning and stuff. We already have a way to do that, and they boost up T lymphocyte functioning by the virus working to diminish the ability of the virus to get into the human body, like all antivirals do. They kind of stimulate the production of T lymphocytes on that virus that comes in your vaccine, so it develops a blueprint on how to destroy it and identify it when it does come into your system. So anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about tonight. Other than, like I said, I do have a lot of prayers and compassion for all the people that were affected by those tornadoes down in Kentucky. So, Roderick, you want to go ahead and open it up, and we'll see if we have anybody that has some questions or comments for the call tonight.
Yes. I know Michael Wu had a question in the chat. Looks like you may have answered it already. Is there any update on the detox product coming in yet?
Oh, no, we don't have detox. That is the one that we're still out of. We just ran out of vitamins about 2 weeks ago, and we're going to be out of heart algae here within the next couple, 2, maybe 3 weeks at the most. But I'm sure that shortly after January, we'll be out of that from the wholesale side. Always go to the internet, enriching.gifts.com, because they're going to be the very last place that's going to run out of product. The wholesale side, I always run out of product well before the website does. So, but I think most everything is in stock, and we're pretty well got a good inventory on everything, except for, like I said, the hard algae. We'll be running out of that here real quickly, and we just ran out of vitamins about 3 weeks ago on the wholesale side, but I know they still have some on the internet. Daily detox, I have a scheduled ship date of somewhere around the 18th to the 21st, possibly as late as the 22nd, and that's the last update that I got. So if it ships out on the 22nd, I won't have it until after Christmas. But I should have it in before the first of the year.
All right. All right. Is there any other questions? Now is the time.
And if you are on the call, just push *6 to unmute yourself to ask questions. And we will have a call next Wednesday, which is Christmas week, but Christmas isn't until Saturday. So we will have a call next week, but we will not have one the Wednesday after Christmas and the Wednesday after New Year's.
All right.
So we won't have one of New Year's week and Christmas week, and I'm talking Sunday to that there. So I think the nearest one that I had, we'd be back on the call on the 6th of January, I believe is what it was.
Wednesday the 5th.
Yeah, Wednesday the 5th. Yeah.
Any other questions? Wow. Now, we did have a wonderful call last week, and we got the call up, and so it's on our website now. And that was a long call, tons of questions, and I only got a chance to hear some parts of that, but I learned some things too as well.
Yeah, it was a really good call last week. Everything flowed, and there were lots of questions, lots of participants. And I guess if there are no questions or anything else going on for tonight's call, I just want to wish everybody a very, very Merry Christmas. And like I said, I know I'll be talking to you next week again, Wednesday, but I just want everybody to be careful, be safe, have a great holiday season as much as possible. And just look forward to talking to everybody next week. I guess we'll just say goodnight for tonight's call, if that's all there is.
Yeah, well, we had one person just join the call, so I'm just going to give them a chance to step out there and ask any questions you have on before we leave.
Hi, I'm Christine. I just like to listen in. I don't really have a good question tonight, but thank you very much for all of the information and the products that you provide. I'm very appreciative. Happy holidays.
You're very, very welcome. I appreciate you coming on the call. Unfortunately, missed the first part of it. I guess you just got on.
Yeah.
I kind of went over the T lymphocytes that everybody's hearing about when they talk about the Omicron virus and variant now. So many of the drugs that they're targeting and the boosters, especially with the Omicron, seems to have the boosters have a positive influence on T lymphocyte activity and production. And I was explaining to everybody that your T lymphocyte is the only cell that makes up the human immune system that has the capability of actually dissolving a human cell that's been affected by a COVID-19 influenza or even Omicron virus. It literally will just secrete enzymes and dissolve the entire cell. But you don't need a booster to do all of that.
Right.
We have the Spiromax and the enzymes, which can incredibly boost up all that. And then I did want to mention one other thing too. And I don't know if this is the right time to mention this because I just got done telling everybody we're probably going to be running out of hard algae before the first of the year. But the hard algae, the astaxanthin that's in there and the source of algae, that particular red algae source has very, very high antiviral properties to it, meaning it destroys viruses, fungus, things of that nature. And that's because of the enzymes that are within that strain of algae. They're very, very high antiviral properties in our hard algae product. So just wanted to mention that out there as well, too. Just a little extra boost for people that are worried about this whole COVID thing.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good to know, Ron.
Yeah. I very rarely ever mention that, and it just just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that.
There are 20 bottles in stock on the website for heart algae, and I'm glad I have one more bottle left, but it's going fast. Sounds like it's in need. So that's
Well, they should have 120 coming, but that's the last 120. We just shipped it out just a couple days ago, so
cool.
that's got to last us all the way up until next May or June of next year.
All
Which
right.
we know it's not going to do anywhere near that. So just letting everybody know.
Indeed. So if there's
All
not,
righty. Well, I think I'll just say goodnight, Roderick, and you can close out the call, and just want to say goodnight to everybody. Like I said, we will see you next Wednesday. Just want to wish you all a very safe week. And again, keep those people in Kentucky in all of our prayers.
yes, those people in Kentucky wished over a happy birthday today, and we'll see you next Wednesday on the 22nd.
All right. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, all.